I want to stay on Georgia a little bit longer. So do you think that this could be the start of another dynasty? Here's why I say this, right? Kirby coached with Saban. Saban's obviously getting up there. If they can come out and I think put together another year like they did last year, because personally I believe in the SEC, you see ebbs and flows, and that's why I'm excited for Billy Napier down in Florida, but I'm not sure yet, right? You got to show this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, even within a season, right? You go out and you beat Utah, but we've seen Florida high and low. They go out and then they struggle with a Kentucky or somebody that they're supposed to just roll over, right? So do you think that the right pieces are in place down there in Athens for it to be the next dynasty in the SEC?
Yes, I do. Main reason is there's room, there's enough riches within the 5 stars, the Regals and the Powers, for Alabama to get its 10 or 12 5-stars and for Georgia to get its. They measure up against Alabama. What other program? Yes, Ohio State will make a case. Clemson has been making a case, but right down there in the South, and they say, line us up in the last 36 months and line them up. Line up their draft picks and line up ours. Line up their wins against top 10 teams and line up ours. They can actually sit down. They don't have to put out hypotheticals. They don't have to put out super cool, jiggy highlight tapes. They just say, just look at the scores and look what we're doing. Oh, yeah, there's plenty. And then the other adage is success begets success. So there are quarterbacks now. Think of a 17-year-old Hackenberg or a 17-year-old Petty or a Knight, and you guys are out there and you're in high school football and you get a call or you get a visit with somebody with a G on their shirt at your school. It's real. Because what do quarterbacks say? I want a shot to go to the NFL and I want to win a national championship. Oh, Georgia's doing that now with both. So, yes, I think there is plenty of room, and it doesn't even require Alabama to be in any kind of a decline. You can run 2. There's now 2 superpowers down there, and there might be a third emerging one in either an A&M or Gainesville or both. Like it's Jurassic Park. But, yeah, Hack, to answer your question, yeah, Georgia's in there. You guys got something on that?
Here's what it worries me about that comment. Yes, I agree that Georgia is on a path, at least for the short term, to be another powerhouse in college football. But what Nick Saban has done at Alabama, that rebar is so deep in the foundation culturally that you're having
on the path to be a heavyweight. They already won a national championship against the Roman army. It wasn't like the Roman army guy. Yeah, okay.
I'm talking year after year after year, right? You're talking about all these head coaches that have come through Alabama, won national championships there, and now they're trying to build their own culture. In order for me to say Georgia is going to be on the same level as an Alabama, I want Dan Lanning to leave, and then I want their next coordinator to leave, and their next coordinator to leave, and their next coordinator to leave, and keep doing that to where we've got 5, 6, 7 years of history, and that rebar keeps going deeper into that concrete, and it's not going to be moved. So I think that right now, yes, they are an incredible team. They are a powerhouse. There's no doubt. But in order to put them in the same conversation as in Alabama, let's just give it a couple more years.
So, Bryce, then let's just stay with Hack's premise and let's go right off of what Trevor's saying. I think we're talking about 2 things. One, my opinion, Georgia is up there with Bama. They sit at the same table. But going beyond that, what Trevor's saying, it's a great ode to Coach Saban. Every year, you're going to lose at least one of your 2 lieutenants at coordinator. They're going to become a head coach, and they're not going to be a head coach way down at Northeast, Central Wi-Fi Tech. They're going to wind up in your conference because they're that highly sought after. Saban continues to show up at the dance. Oh, yeah, these are my new lieutenants. What's your name again? That's right. That's my new lieutenant. Like, he doesn't, like, they're going to just keep flipping. That is longevity, but program for program, are they equal? And is Trevor right? It's going to take a while for anybody to catch up to Coach Saban in terms of just his own great.
I think you hit mute, but I love what you're saying, because I do think I'm kind of in between both you guys. Honestly, I think the pen and the paper's out. I don't know if started down with the D before the Y, and they started spelling out dynasty yet. But we've already seen it. And Trevor, you bring up a great point, because that's exactly what I thought in my mind, is that until you start having your guys leave and you can still replicate. I mean, buddy, they held Oregon to 313 yards today. So to me, I'm like, okay, this is starting to be that type of atmosphere, that type of culture, to where Kirby Smart has these guys believing that it doesn't really matter who it is. Now, the crazy thing to me about what Alabama and what Nick Saban has been able to do is Nick Saban revitalizes careers. There are dudes, Sarkisian, Billy O, there are dudes that come down and that come across to revitalize their career before they take off. Now that, to me, is a whole different echelon of dynasty than what we have seen most likely in our tenure of watching football, and we'll probably ever see again. But I do think that the pen and paper is out, and they've got the dictionary to spell dynasty. It's there.
Do you think Kirby has the makeup? I think it's more so a question of, do you think Kirby has the makeup and the, I'm not like, I can't, like, do you think he can do that? Because you sit there and you talk about, like, look, even think about Belichick, right? In the NFL, how all of Belichick's guys go, some have success, some don't. They try to be Belichick too much. They try not to. Do you think like Kirby has that perfect balance of like enough understanding of Saban, and then also kind of like is the first guy who's done what Saban's done, where like Kirby was under Saban, beat him, Dabo, same thing, but then he has a big piece leave and says, screw it, we're playing them, even if it was decided before that, we're playing them week 1, and then goes out and does what he did to them. Do you think Kirby has the makeup, I guess? Because I think that's kind of what it comes down to, right?
I think if it's anybody, it's Kirby. Right?
Yeah.
You think about, Bryce, you made a great point of guys coming back to revitalize their career, but they're not just going to a directional school, to your point, George. You got the head coach at the University of Texas. That's a huge logo that came through that system. University of Florida, University of Oregon, like – these got Georgia, right? These are huge logos in college football that all came through that one man. And so that is my point of, hey, let's pause the brakes here real quick. The dynasty goes way past the walls of Tuscaloosa and those facilities. This is spread throughout the country.
Yeah. No, I agree. Does he have it? Yes, he does. It's just, it's going to take time.
That is, it's already kind of playing itself out, but we'll see longevity. It does take some longevity to call yourself a dynasty. Clemson last year was the first time they weren't in the playoffs, and everybody's kind of cooled on Clemson, and they've been cranking out superheroes out of that program. They've been going toe to toe with the biggest and baddest, knocking them out. And they've had one tough year, and a lot of people have retracted. Are they still in the midst of their dynasty? Are you allowed to have
I don't know, man. This is my thing. Dabo is so good at keeping guys, right? Venables should have been a head coach 12 years ago, and he stayed there. Trevor Lawrence stayed there with him 4 years, man. Like the thing that Nick Saban continued. Nick Saban, it's Jalen Hurts or it's Tua.
Either way.
He continues to do things like that. I think AJ McCarron was probably his longest dude that he actually had under center for a while, right? So I mean, just what he's able to do down there in the way that he's able to do it. I just don't know if we'll ever see anybody like that. But in that same vein, we had JT Daniels last year, and then in comes Stetson Bennett. So again, Kirby Smart is starting to have, again, the inner workings of being able to weave in, bits and pieces of what we've seen with Nick Saban, again, to create a trajectory of what, we could be talking on this show in a couple of years of like, man, Georgia's that team. They're the next guy up.
I got a crazy thought here real quick. I'm curious if one of you guys want to answer this. Nick Saban's getting older, okay? Nick Saban went and won a national championship at LSU, took all of that, and has done what he's done at Alabama. Could we see Kirby Smart win a national championship or two at Georgia? Nick Saban is forced to depart for one reason or the other. He goes back.
No, I wouldn't. Why would – that's just one of the laws – I don't know, name your book. Never go hop in a great man's shoes. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You talking about go to Alabama? Certainly not. Stay right here in Georgia. Build it like Bama's. I'll get the same lawn cutting people that Bama gets to cut their field. I'll get all the same stuff. What's the Wi-Fi system they use? We'll use that as well. But I'm not going to go to Bama. There'll be a statue of the man out front.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you're going to be able to do in your tenure. As great as that tenure can be, it might be half.
You're turning the book.
It might be half.
Wait, hold on, go back. What did Nick Saban do? Okay, go on.
Yeah. You won't even have to look it up. There'll be janitors and
that's right. That's right. Well, Nick Saban put up 66 on Utah State. He only put up 59. Yeah. So
then I hope
someone's got to do it though.
Still,
someone's got to do it though, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, at the end of the day, someone's got to do it.
All this still, whenever the time comes, because that's going to be the craziest job search of all time.
Oh man, and will Saban just turn and name his successor, or will he just let him just battle it out?